no one cares about your features until they understand the pain that you solve. And I think a lot of people are way too forward about their solution before crisply defining the problem that they solve. And therefore, a lot of their outreach is decontextualized. That's a problem. So you have to be really crisp about what is the problem that we uniquely solve. And then how do I know you have that problem? And that's where that secret information walkaholis comes from. And then you earn the right for the meeting. So like, don't sleep on that and try not to index entirely toward your solution. Index really around.
We are excited for another episode of Unfuck My Startup. And again, we got, I was on a podcast with Kyle. We had a great time. I would say about a year ago, I was the guest. Now I'm returning the favor. He is the global VP of marketing at ClickUp. You can find him on LinkedIn preaching about how Outbound is not dead, but your 2-year-old playbook is. And we're going to dive into that today because I love diving into people's posts that absolutely rip because people care about that topic. And can I hear from the audience? Is anybody hurting with Outbound at the moment? let, let me just chime in and say,
Always.
me.
Brutal. Yes, hurting. Who
Yeah,
doesn't?
me.
How about this?
Is anyone
I'm
doing
hurting on the
great?
receiving end of Outbound from so many companies. I'll tell you that much. It is just warfare out there. So
And
I see them.
how are you coping with that, by the way?
I used to, 2020 or so, I used to respond to everything. I made it a practice. I was like, hey, I have been building SDR teams for 10 years now. I want to give back to the community as best I can. I'll share my tips and tricks on LinkedIn, and I'll also go one-to-one with every single person who reaches out to me. And at the time in 2020, Adam, it was great. Like, I would give feedback, people would respond, we'd have a good back and forth, they would fix things, they'd be very thankful. And then as we got 21, 22, 23, people stopped responding. They started like telling me to F off or giving them feedback. And then I just got so inundated with AI stuff, I can't possibly respond to everything anymore.
Yeah, I hear you. I have a question for the audience. Who here actually responds to cold outreach? Because I love asking this. Does anybody in the audience actually respond to cold outreach, or do you just ignore it? Wow, Jed, you still write everybody back or no?
There's a lot of yeses in here. There's like
Yeah,
quite a bit more responding than I thought would happen.
yeah.
Smith says mark as spam. Well, that's
Yeah,
not
just
gonna help anybody in
a
here.
little anecdote. My first company I founded with this guy named James Murphy and my other co-founder Tate. Pete worked at that company. It's called Robly. It was an email newsletter app, and we built it by cold calling. And like James would always be like,
Yeah.
I never answer a cold call. I never answer email marketing. Like, it's like, dude, like, well, that's literally that's literally our entire sausage machine. Like, I just thought that was particularly hilarious. Okay, so everybody knows that, well, the returning visitors know our first segment is always the pitch slap segment. Before we get into the pitch slap segment, I have been posting on LinkedIn about how from August 23rd to August 30th, our B2B is a 3-man team right now. And we are using a ton of AI for basically SDR and support. It's freemium PLG, so like we don't need an AE. So I have a clone of myself on the website that answers sales questions, and we use Finn for support. All 3 of our FTEs are leaving for a week, and we're going to let AI handle the entire business for 7 days. And when I post about this, which is frequently because I'm trying to get people fired up about it, the response is like, how did you do all this? So if you're wondering, how did you do all that? I put together a 6 email drip with 15 videos about exactly how we first created, and I've dropped it in the chat, how we first created the support. Really, it's like you have to create good enough documentation to answer every question anybody would ask. And then once you do that, you can very easily layer a sales bot on top of it and like add a few more documents. So the whole process is in that sign up form. So I just wanted to share that with everybody because I get the question how so much. And then I'm turning it over to Pete for the pitch slap. Last week, we booked 35 demos on the pitch slap, if you were here.
All-time record.
35.
All-time record. I think the record before that was 25. So it was a complete smash.
Yeah.
Usually what we've been doing, audience, and audience, this is the segment for you. What we've been doing, people will email producer at rb2b.com. I will select somebody. We're going to do something a little different. I was super fired up about the record last week. So we want to have some folks raise their hand. Only raise your hand if B2B kind of small, early stage B2B founders and marketers would be in your ICP, and that's who you're selling to. Okay. So raise your hand if you would like to pitch the audience this week and try to book more than 35 demos. We have 5 participants who raised their hand. I am just going to go out here and pick someone completely random. We're going to do.
And while Pete's picking somebody, we're going to go over the rules real quick. You have 2 minutes to pitch. I'm going to just do the timer on my Apple, on my phone. And then we're going in the second minute, we're going to say, would you or would you not buy? If you get above 66%, it's a swag box. Above 33%, it's a t-shirt. Below 33%, you get sent home with a bye-bye.
Brutal.
Pretty good. We have Andrew Suggs, who is coming up. And Andrew, whenever you make your way to the panel, there he is. What's up, Andrew?
Here's our
Howdy.
official timer, guys. What's up, Andrew? How you doing?
Outstanding.
Good, man. You ready? You ready for us to start this 2 minutes?
Yeah, give me the rules. I get cut off by
Yeah, you're
transition in.
good. You're good.
Okay.
We're going to give you 2 minutes to pitch. All right. Before we start the timer, if you could drop in your URL, your website, right into the chat, that way everybody can go to your website as they're going around. And this is the beauty of the wild pitch slap, people. Not having a time. We got Andrew, who's on his phone, who's going to pitch the audience and still crush it, which I absolutely love. We'll give him 1 second to drop in his URL in here, and there we go. Cleanbill.com. Andrew, whenever you're ready, take it away. Tell us about Clean Bill. You got 2 minutes, and then at the end of the 2 minutes, I'm going to run a poll, see who would buy, not buy. We're going to have people drop demo into the chat. You can drop your calendar link in after you hang up here, and take it away.
All right, fantastic. Well, Clean Bill is a low-cost healthcare membership that gives employees access to discounted doctor visits, labs, imaging, and more without the high cost of insurance. Plus, members earn cashback rewards and travel perks that they can use to lower their membership costs to keep as savings. Additionally, small businesses with the new Section 125 plan can actually save about $800 to $1,000 per employee on payroll and income taxes. So that's my pitch.
Boom. 30 seconds. So I'm going to ask you some questions. Is this like instead of JustWorks? Or did you use
So JustWork is more like a PEO. So we're a subscription-based model. So think Netflix for healthcare, where we've negotiated relationships with doctors, and it's effectively how healthcare worked 75 years ago, where you can just go to your doctor and pay them $24. That's how we're kind of returning to that notion.
So is it like you go and buy the type of insurance that only helps you in hospitals, and then you go through you for everything else? Is that the idea?
Yeah. So you can buy like a catastrophic plan on the marketplace, and then for your primary care, and then also there are 400 generic drugs included in each of our plans, in addition to discounted labs, X-rays, et cetera, et cetera. So I mean, we're saving anywhere between, I would say, 30 and, depending on the type of employee count, 75% per employee.
Look, man, I've been an entrepreneur for a long time, and that sounds pretty good to me.
Well,
This healthcare thing is unbelievable. It's horrible for startups. It's so
premiums are going up 15 to 25%. If you haven't received a rate letter, you will be in a rude awakening in the coming months.
Oh, I'm not looking forward to it. Okay, you're in.
Andrew.
Come on, guys, keep voting, keep voting. We are right on the brink of a swag box and a t-shirt. Oh, he's got the swag box.
That's
Nice.
it. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
Lock it in. 84.
Okay, Andrew. All right. If you want a demo with Andrew about how to save, what is it, $3,000 an employee on healthcare, type demo. Oh, Philip in. Type demo in the chat. Let's go.
We had
Type
92
demo.
people said yes. 92 people, 70% of the audience. Philip wants 2 demos. We got Lance who's saying demo.
Yeah.
Andrew went. I know you're on your phone. After
94 people would buy, but we only got 4 people that want demos. Somebody figure out how to do that math.
Yeah,
there we go. It's rolling in. It's rolling in.
People fall asleep around this time. 12 minutes in.
Oh God. Folks, if you Audience, if you would like to be a part of the Pitch Slap, email producer@rb2b.com. We would love to have you on next week and the weeks to come. Andrew, you're getting a swag box, my friend. I'm going to send you an email right after this. Thank you so much for coming on and pitching, and make sure you drop your calendar link.
Andrew, can I ask you one more question? How'd you
Yes, sir.
How'd you get into this?
Yeah, so I had a digital health company. They raised venture capital, sold to 4 of the top 5 health plans in the United States a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And so working with a brilliant founder, Dan Nunn, who actually is on this call as well, and just wanted to help him with all his growth initiatives. So yeah, that's how I got into it. And I love
Awesome.
healthcare. It's 1/4 of our GDP. So how can you
Yeah,
not love it?
man. Hallelujah. Well, thank you for coming up. Thank you for being a part of the Pitch Slap. And
Absolutely. Keep
you
up the
know,
good work, guys. You guys
all
are doing
right.
an amazing job.
Thanks for
Thank
the
you.
support, Andrew. We appreciate you, man.
Absolutely.
All right. There we go. Did I just remove video or?
Now for the main event.
There we go. All right. So
Yeah. Everybody wants to talk about Outbound every show. We're up to 310 guests. I'm not surprised. And man, here we go.
So, I mean, LinkedIn, especially, or just everywhere, I think people are inundated with this idea that Outbound's dead. ChatGPT was released in late 2022, if I'm not mistaken. And since then, Outbound has completely changed in terms of what your prospects are receiving, which is incredibly important, how you're going out and sending. We had Taylor Heron on 2 weeks ago who was talking about AI spam filters and all these different things. So, Kyle, I want to ask you. You believe that there's still a path here. You're finding it actually work in practice. What is like the fundamental shift you've seen in the past, say, 12 to 18 months, right? That have totally changed how this playbook is. What is that new school Outbound playbook?
Yeah, it's a great question. And the answer is it's not a new school playbook. It's what's always worked. The problem, gentlemen, is many of us got into outbound sales, into sales or SDR or whatever, during an unbelievable arbitrage moment between like 2013 and 2020 when sending shit at scale just got easy. It just got easy to do outbound. And none of us knew. None of us knew any better because many people were new in career, new in tech, new to the industry. There was a tech boom, cash was cheap, and everybody was spending money. And so there was this interesting confluence of two kind of tailwinds that outbound sales reps caught. One was the technology that made it easy to send at scale. And two was buyers that were ready and willing to buy basically anything. And so we got lazy. That's 7 or 8 years where things were easy. We got lazy. That's what happened. And we lost sight of what is the actual right way of doing this. And it just got entirely bastardized to be about doing it at scale. At scale was something you heard over and over and over again. And people started to care less about doing it right and caring more about doing it at scale. And the two do not always overlap. And so the playbook that works today is the same playbook that has always worked. But what's different is that the new playbook that we created over the last 10 years stopped working. That's the difference. And we can get into more, but I'll pause there.
I love that. So what do you think when you see the classic Clay agency, grid workflow or whatever? Like, do you have an immediate reaction to that? Are you like, okay, like, so 1,000 email sends didn't work and now you're sending 1,000,000 of them and like you're doing, is that what you feel? Or is it like, like what is your reaction to something like that? It's like, I just know this is nonsense, or is it like there may be something to that?
Yeah, it's a great question, Adam. So I am a huge believer in this movement around signal stacking. And, our B2B is one of the main providers of like really rich signal. There is real gold in those hills. The problem is that not every signal is justification for reaching out to somebody. And the Clay agencies or the outbound playbook of today will lead you to believe that every single little behavioral signal that you see is indicative that, yes, this person or company is in the market for a solution like yours. And that's just not it. That's just not it. Like the way that I think about things is you have to hit at the intersection of 4 different thought processes. Number one, you have to really understand the person that you're reaching out to. Who is that person? What is their stake in the organization? What metrics are they accountable? What is their day-to-day? You really need to understand that stuff. Number two, You need really deep persona knowledge. What are the use cases that people really use our solution for? What are the customer stories I can tell? I need to know that person and the persona really well. Number three, and this is what often gets ignored, is what is happening inside of that account. What's a real thing? Like Adam, you just mentioned your whole shift to AIification. No matter how burning that problem that Andrew presented is about your premium costs and things like that, like you only have 3 employees. So like probably not going to be the number one thing that's top of mind, even though you fit the profile for a small business owner, you know this stuff, you understand the pain, but you only have 3 employees and you're trying to keep it that way. So like that's not going to be super top of mind for you. So when you're doing research, you have to really understand the account that you're reaching out to and what's going on inside of that account. And then finally, you have to actually tie it all together with your value props. What is unique about the person, persona, and account information you found? And what is that angle that should make somebody care about what you're selling? Like that is what's required to be successful in outbound. And we've tried to be super lazy about it. AI, go find the signal. AI, go write the email. AI, go blast 1,000 semi or unpersonalized persona-based emails and just hope that my fishing with a net is going to catch something. And that's just not the way that this works. Like outbound has to be more about research, has to be more about intent. And if you can do intent at scale, that's a much better way of thinking about things. Signals are a part of it, but they're not the whole thing.
I'm a novice at this still. What is the rest of intent at scale beyond signal?
Yeah, I would say the most powerful signals are things that you can't find online. Like what I mean by that, Adam, is the things that matter most to me are things that I'm communicating to my team internally. Like you're a bit of a rare bird, Adam, because you're broadcasting everything. You're broadcasting everything. So like you're an open book. People know what you're about. People understand signals. But the things that I'm doing internally, and I'll share this with you all now. Like I have this bullseye on my back. I've been at ClickUp for 4 months. I have this bullseye on my back that I need to generate $100 million in incremental pipeline this year, which is to say $100 million of pipeline that would not have gotten created if not for my presence and my impact and my programs and my way of thinking.
I mean, the absurdity of that is just unbelievable. So has anybody in the audience ever created $100 million of pipeline in a year? I would love to see if we have any yeses. Yes or no? Yes or no? Oh, Brandon Muffin, $1 trillion. Fake pipeline, Jed did. Tian dreamt about it. That's insane. So yeah, we're playing a big game here, right?
It's a big game. We have 20 million users. We have this whole PLG funnel that we can capitalize on. We have this whole sales-led engine, and the combination of those things needs to yield enormous amount of pipeline. The reason I bring this up is because if you know this about me, you will get my attention. If you send me a cold email or you make a cold call, leave a voicemail, or you reach out on LinkedIn and you mention this crazy audacious goal that I have and the bullseye I have on my back that mentions how you can help me chip away at this $100 million target, you have my attention. I promise you. The question is, how do you find that out? I'm not gonna I am broadcasting it right now, but generally speaking, like that's not something that I'm on LinkedIn about talking about. So how do you find this information? This is the strategy that is the most bulletproof playbook for outbound that exists. Most people don't do it because it requires effort. And most people, whether they say it or not, don't actually want to do high effort stuff. They just want to get success. It's similar to like how most people think about feedback. You don't actually want feedback to you. You just want praise. It's not the same thing. So like you need to actually put an effort. So what is the play? The play is reach out around and below me. Find the people across my organization. Have conversations with them. They're like, I have 40 people on the SDR team. They all are aware of this goal. If you're an SDR and you reach out to a fellow SDR, just be like, hey, what's the lay of the land? What's going on? What matters to Kyle? They'll give you some talking points. And then you can use that information when you reach out to me, put it in the subject line. I just talked to Nick. Here's what he said. You have this target on your back. Here's how we can help you. Here's how we did something similar for somebody relevant in my space. That's the kind of thing that's much more valuable to me than the general outreach that's never really going to be as on the nose about what is driving urgency for my decision-making day to day.
So how do you actually prioritize that with your reps, right? Like you have this big ocean. First of all, you have a humongous number right? And there's like a giant number of people you need to go after to hit that number. You need kind of a lot of gumballs in the machine there.
Yeah.
So what does that research entail for your team? Like how
Yeah.
did you, because you, as you said, I can't have an AI bot find it. It's probably really difficult for me to find what you actually emotionally care about, right?
Yeah.
So how is your team going about that?
Yeah, it's a great question, Pete. We will basically just use the law of large numbers here. So my team at ClickUp is about 70 people. Reach out to all of them. Like, and it doesn't need to be super tailored messaging to them because you only need to talk to 2, 3. Like if you get 5-minute conversations with a couple of these people, I don't care what level they are. They hired yesterday, IC, or they can be senior director of whatever on the team. Like reach out to all of them via email, LinkedIn, and make some sort of offer. This is a play that we used to run at my previous company. We used to run this play at Clary. Clary is a revenue forecasting solution we sold to sales teams. So we reach out to AEs to understand what is your forecasting process. And we just offer them $5 for 5 minutes. That was the subject line of the email. $5 for 5 minutes. We'll buy your next coffee. We have 2 questions about your forecasting process. And we would send that note to all 200 salespeople that exist at this company. And then we would have 1 or 2 conversations, and we would take the insight and we'd go to the CRO, and the subject line would be talk to your reps. And the opening email or the opening line of the email would be, I talked to Lynn Powers. I talked to Caitlin Zylstra. Here's what they like and don't like about your forecasting process. Here's how we can fix it with Clary. Open to a conversation. That's the type of thing that actually gets engagement. That's the type of thing that actually gets you to power. So now you have a tops down sale. You have real buy-in. You've done the work. You've earned the meeting. You have a real perspective. Like that's the type of play that AI can't replicate, which means humans are uniquely suited to do it.
I love this like thing about leading with the pain points. And I think people miss this often. They'll lead with their solution or some broad pain point. And like in reality, when you're reaching out to somebody cold, they don't know about your solution. They don't know what it's supposed to fix. You have to tell them, you have to lead with what it's supposed to fix and what that pain is. Ideally, when they see that subject line of that email, it's like looking in a mirror of like, holy shit, that's exactly what I'm experiencing right now. Of course, I need to talk to this person.
And there's the other thing, Pete, which is like, how the hell do they know that? Like, how do they know? And this is always feedback that we would get from the chief revenue officers that we'd reach out to. Like, how do they know my forecasting call is on a Monday and then my managers do a roll up on a Wednesday and then I finally do this forecast submission on a Friday? Like, how the hell do they know? So they'd be interested in the way in our methodology and just showing that we're putting in the work, even if our POV isn't exactly right. Showing them that you're putting in the work is worth it. And I'm seeing some of this stuff in the chat where people are like, oh, this doesn't scale. Oh, this isn't efficient. Oh, you have to have the unit economics. Fine. Like, this is the excuse that everybody makes. This doesn't scale over and over and over again. Fine. Go send your 1,000,000 emails a month. Good luck. I promise you, this is a more efficient and effective way of generating real meaningful pipeline from a cold outbound standpoint to executives, to power, tops down. That's the difference here.
And by the way, I want to remind the audience that this is why you show up to this show. This is a highly tactical piece of information that is working today in Outbound when nothing else is, that you can do.
And you don't even need to incentivize these initial meetings. Like I said, we would give them $5 for 5 minutes. You don't even need to do that. Like if you're reaching out to a peer at a company and you just say, hey, 5 minutes to chat, I have 2 questions about process. It'll really help me in my deal. I understand if you're selling sales tech or MarTech, you're going to get a more or like open audience to that kind of thing. But I promise, just reach out. People like talking to other people. And like that's what networking is. And sometimes they don't take a call, but they'll answer your LinkedIn message and they'll just give you bullet points. Like that's super valid too. Hey, do you mind if I drop your name when I reach out to your CRO? Yeah, fine, go ahead. Like humans are humans. And the more human you behave, the better the results are going to be. So I highly, highly, highly recommend dip your toes in these waters. If you're skeptical, I understand. Dip your toes in these waters. Like try this for 2 accounts this week. See what happens. Then scale to 5. Then 10. And then you'll find you don't have to scale this to 10,000 accounts. You just have to scale this to the 5 deals you need to close every quarter to hit your number. Like this is the way this works. So like I highly recommend you start small and try to build from there.
And a lot of people are asking about if there's going to be a recording. Yes, Pete will have a recording up on this YouTube playlist by Friday. Pete will also do a recap. What do you call them, Pete? The checklist of everything that Kyle is teaching us how to do that will hit LinkedIn tomorrow. He'll put it in his LinkedIn. So yeah, this is gold, man. This is awesome. And people in the audience are saying this is gold. So thank you very much for
I
sharing.
always over-index on the negative feedback. So other people might say, "Hey, yeah, you were selling Clary. You were reaching out to salespeople. Salespeople like to talk." You're right; it's an advantage. However, life before Clary, I was at a company called Looker, business intelligence company. We sold to CTOs and to data engineers. There is not a less receptive audience on the planet to cold outreach than data engineers. I promise you. And this methodology worked like a charm for those people too. Worked like a charm. Hey, what databases do you use? What do you like? What do you don't like? They're like, what? I get to complain about this stuff? Great. And they would give you the insight. Then you get to reach out to the more senior people there and say, just talk to these people. I know you're using Redshift. I know you're using Snowflake. That's a disaster. Here, we can help. Like, this is the kind of stuff that actually moves the needle. And the reason it is so above and beyond all the things Pete mentioned about why this resonates with people and what I said about like people being interested that you know some inside information, some secret information, as one of my CROs used to call it, is 1% of people do this, 0.1% of people do this. No one does this. So you actually stand out. It actually makes a difference. And that's if there's ever a reason to do something, is because mostly everybody else is not. And like take advantage of that fact.
Exactly. As Sue said, I love this. Be the 0.1%. That's life. Right? And like what AI is doing is it's just squeezing the tube of toothpaste even more. And the top 0.1% is going to rip it even harder. And then everybody else is going to be at the bottom.
You will either be the 0.1% of achievers by running this play, or you'll run the shitty outbound play and get a 0.1% reply rate. It's up to you.
And have this huge infrastructure to maintain and all of this other nonsense. And I love that you specifically are saying this, Kyle, because first of all, you have 70 people on your team that are responsible for helping you get this really large number. Guys, $100 million in pipeline. And you're still saying go small, do things that are unscalable. This is something that Adam and I have touted on the show probably forever, especially in the beginning, is doing unscalable things. And somebody who needs scale is still doing those unscalable things just because you're reverse engineering backwards. You're saying, this is how many deals I need. I do not need to send 1 million emails to get my 5 deals a month. I need to send 5 really good emails realistically. Obviously, not going to have a 100% hit rate, but this is, I think this is just great. People, especially when they're starting out and haven't done anything, are so worried about running a channel that is scaling. And I mean, we've had people ask on here like, oh, I think I'm running this certain campaign or my LinkedIn can only get us, maybe another million in ARR. It's like, great, go get it. Like if you think that's right there to get, don't worry about it lasting forever. No channel is going to last forever, folks. I guarantee that everything dries up at some point, or it just doesn't become worth it because it become too big. So
yeah. And I should be clear, like this is specifically for cold outbound for an executive level audience. So there are different tactics that we can get into for engaging other stakeholders if your buyer is more junior or something like that. Or if you have this massive or even just a PLG engine, like converting free to paid is a totally different ballgame. Totally different ballgame. We at ClickUp have both engines. We have this kind of dual PLG and sales-led engine, which is really cool, and they complement each other in useful ways. So we have a bunch of signal monitoring and signal actioning stuff on the PLG side. Of course, when usage spikes, you better believe we're reaching out to the C-level people there. When we see some sort of paywall that gets hit, you better believe we're trying to have a human touch point to upgrade the plans. But on the cold outbound side, nothing beats this walk the halls type strategy.
Oh, that's a great name. The walk the halls.
So that's what it is. I should have led with that. Like in that, and why I say this is the old playbook is because Adam, when you and I were wee pups, we would, be in a sales organization. Like you would get a little badge and you would go into the HQ and like you just be in their HQ and you have like a 45-minute or an hour-long presentation or whatever. And then you just kind of hang out the rest of the day and you just talk to whoever will talk to you. Like I would just go to sit in the break room and just be like, hey guys, what are you working on? They'd be like, who the hell are you? Like, don't worry about it. So like that's what walking the halls is. It's like pretend that you have a badge at their HQ and you're just walking around gathering information so that when you have that opportunity to speak to power, you come with a unique point of view. You come with something that is that secret information that gets people's attention.
I feel like too, at any given time, people are really only thinking about a few really pressing issues. And if you can just figure out what one of those is, you're going to get their attention. Like we're pretty simple, like we're as humans are like navigating around a few simple problems. As soon as we solve that problem, we completely forget about it and we move on to the next set of problems that we're working on. And if you can just latch onto whatever that current set of problems is, that's the secret here.
There's another really important point there, Pete, which is I mentioned one of the circles in the Venn diagram is you have to really understand your value props. Most people don't understand their value props. Most people think that their value prop is how awesome their solution is. And that ain't it. Your value prop is the pain that you solve. And if you are more focused on and more precise on the pain that you help alleviate or eliminate entirely, that's going to be much more compelling messaging than saying, I have this product with a million features. Like, no one cares about your features until they understand the pain that you solve. And I think a lot of people are way too forward about their solution before crisply defining the problem that they solve. And therefore, a lot of their outreach is decontextualized. That's a problem. So you have to be really crisp about what is the problem that we uniquely solve. And then how do I know you have that problem? And that's where that secret information walk the halls comes from. And then you earn the right for the meeting. So like, don't sleep on that and try not to index entirely toward your solution. Index really around the pain.
I want to make a note for the folks who are new here. We've had some real heavy hitters on, including Kyle recently, and they've all said this same thing. We've had people who send the most. We've had Taylor Heron, who's one of the biggest email, agencies here. We had Anthony Pieri on a couple of weeks ago, who founded Fletch, which is a marketing positioning firm and consultancy. All said the same thing. Get crystal clear on what exactly that offer is. Don't focus it around your features. Anthony Pieri had this other great point, how software and services, specifically because they're so untangible, it makes the description of what you do all the more important because people can't touch it, feel it, they can't instinctively know what it does. It's your duty to communicate that out to them. So I just want to highlight that because this is like a point that keeps coming up. Everyone's like, my outbound's broken. You look at their messages, they're terrible. They don't they don't say anything. It's like, it's not broken. That email is just never going to get a response. Um, okay, I want to shift to something. So we have a lot of earlier stage companies in here, Kyle. We have a big range of people, but I think whether you're big or small and you've had success with Outbound before, or maybe you're struggling with it right now. I want to talk about some more budget-friendly, actionable strategies that people can use. So, are there like we'll talk about some low-cost tools for research and outreach, kind of some basic hacks there. Do you have any like starting points for people without breaking the bank to get back into outreach? Maybe they feel defeated from a failed campaign before that cost a lot of money, a lot of time, and all that.
Yeah, it depends on which channel you think is most effective. Right now, and for the last 3-4 years, the channel that's been the most effective for my teams, which is not to say it's going to be the same for you, is the phone by probably 20-30x. The results we get on the phone outstrip basically any other channel. And so there's all this time and energy being spent around email. We just spent a lot of time talking about email, but nothing replaces the real human touch point. And as far as I know, I could be wrong about this, but as far as I know, AI cold calls are like literally illegal. And so people can try it. My understanding is that it is literally illegal. So I don't see that changing anytime soon. For some reason, cold texting is also illegal. I didn't know this. Anyway, so
it's very strict compliance related relative to email. Like,
yeah,
so
it's really interesting. So anyway, like find the channel that's going to work the best for you, and then find the tool that helps you make the most of that channel. For us, it's power dialers. So I've used Orem before. I've used Nooks before. Like the ability not to call 100,000 people at once. Although Adam, who was it recently on? It was the
it was Amir from
yeah
Amir Atali from Hockey Stack.
Hockey Stack. That's right. He had some crazy numbers in there about his power dialer
Yeah,
stats.
he's like, yeah, no, it was like one of these conversations, and we're like, so how many dials a day? He's like 3,000 to 4,000.
Excuse me, come again? Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
like per rep. Do you have 100 reps? He's like, no, we have 3 guys. They do that. It's like, dude, like, how big is your TAM? Like, how could you possibly do it? Anyway, it's working.
We make like we went for so prior to having this kind of technology, making 30-50 calls a day. getting to 200 calls a day with this technology is very easy. It's very easy. And like, that's a really good, so for us at ClickUp, that's a really good number, because hopefully that means you're connecting 25, 30% of the time with these tools. You're having real conversations about 2/3 of the time, and those conversations take time. And so like, that's what we're trying to index around, is how many quality conversations can you have, and what are the tools that help us get there? It is like a Nooks or Orem. On the surface, it looks expensive, but when you think about the way that you're accelerating results, accelerating impact, it's a pretty, I think the ROI case is pretty unassailable if your audience picks up the phone, which most do. But I want to issue that caveat that some audiences I know will never pick up a cold call. Totally get it.
We're talking office phones, mobile phones. I know with COVID shift, there was this, I mean, I was working at a business, and my whole sales team was doing cold calls to office phones, and then that completely changed, and we stopped doing calls mostly. So you're doing mobile.
Yeah, we're doing both. We're doing both.
Oh.
So, ClickUp has a huge TAM across all segments, SMB all the way to enterprise, even just like mom and pop all the way to true enterprise. We have an unlimited TAM, so that's a huge advantage for us. Huge. Understand that. We also have other types of enrichment tools that kind of unmask or find mobile phone numbers, because that is the most successful. We're finding more success with mobile than we are with office phones right now, but we do both.
Can I ask about spam on phones? Our phones, of course, have gotten really good at identifying potential spam. Do you have a checker that you use? How often do you do that? Is there like a number cycling thing?
We don't worry so much about that, Pete, because we're calling with real intent. We're calling with real reasons, as we just talked about. And so what I really like, and I don't know if Apple's released this yet, but apparently there's going to be like a live transcription of the voicemail as it's getting left. Like, great. Why? Because no one leaves voicemails anymore. So this is yet another arbitrage moment for our team. Like, leave that voicemail that says the same thing you would say in a cold email. Yeah. Hey, Kevin, I just talked to Lynn and I talked to Kristen. Here's what they said about your forecasting. Hopefully we can find some time to talk. Just sent you an email. Reply to me there.
Yeah. I view that as like an ad unit, like a super targeted ad unit with like 100% view rate or something like that. Right. Like that is like, I agree with you. It's like an amazing thing for cold outreach over the phone. So one thing that I know everyone is thinking here is like, what is the script that ClickUp, a brand as badass as that, uses on a cold call? Yeah. Everybody loves to know.
Yeah, it's a great question. So the answer is it depends on the person. I have been around the block enough times, Adam, to know that the same script will not work for all people, because we're all different people. The way that I deliver something is different than the way that other people deliver things. So the best script, and this is going to sound really stupid, but bear with me. The best script is something that you will actually say with conviction. So like, if you get a script from your manager or somebody and it has words or phrases in it that you're like, I just can't imagine myself saying this, change them. It's okay. Like, it's totally fine. I am a much cheekier, confident cold caller. That's just the way I've always been. Hey, this is Kyle calling from ClickUp. This is a cold call. Do you want to hang up or do you want to roll the dice? That always worked for me. People are like, I'll give you 30 seconds. I'm like, great. So like, some people will take that approach to cold calling and openers and then have a really sharp, like, the reason for my call is this. One sentence. Here's the problem that we can solve for you. The problem that ClickUp solves, and the way that we try and contextualize this, is the problem is sprawl. All these different apps, all this knowledge, all this context that's just everywhere. Bring it all into ClickUp. Your team is losing 40% of their time. Solve that with ClickUp. And that's it. And we'll have some real reason for talking. To the extent that we have gathered the bottoms up information, we'll contextualize that a little bit more, or customize that a little bit more. But that's the spirit of it. And it's to create a conversation. It's to earn the right to ask the probing questions about what's happening. So get a really sharp opener that you're comfortable saying, and saying 200 times a day. Make it your own. If you have this kind of more cheeky, risky personality and you're comfortable like laughing on a cold call, like I'm smiling talking about it, it's fun for me. I like it. If you're not like this, don't try that. If you're super down and slow and you're like, this is a cold call, you want to hang up or you want to roll the dice? Like, probably not going to work. So like, your tone matters. The things you say really matter, and just find a script that works for you. Find a script that works for you. Like, I don't know how else.
Who in the audience likes cold calling? I likes not receiving them, actually likes making the dials.
I have had fun
Good.
on a cold calling
I'm
floor.
doing this one for Kyle so he can poach people out of the audience.
I genuinely love it. And I love people who love it. Like I like people who like the best rejection I ever got on a cold call was somebody told me, go die in a fire. It's like, you have a great day too, sir. But the reason I love it is because you get to turn to somebody, you get to laugh about it, and you get to move on to the next one. And
Yeah.
the thrill of getting somebody in the funnel, having a great conversation, solving a real problem for them, way overshadows the down, like the rejection, because you have to laugh off the rejection. As long as you're confident in your preparation, you're confident in your plan, and you're doing the work the best that you can, like that's what this is. If you only get rejected 9 times out of 10, you're doing something very right. That's crazy. So like,
Yeah.
it's the best way to learn. It's the best way to learn sales. Truly, it creates an unbelievable foundation for basically everything that uncaps your income. And that's the way that I think about cold calling.
I love it.
I completely agree. I also want to highlight there's a lot of folks in here who probably tried cold calling. Maybe they're hearing you say the best script that works for you is the one that you'll actually say with conviction, and everyone should have a slightly different script. They might be thinking that's insane. But I want to close the loop a little bit. Earlier in the conversation, we were talking about how important it is to really nail down your statement of value. What exactly does my company do and do really well? Who exactly am I saying that to? And what exactly are their pain points? If you have all of that really dialed in, at that point, there's probably a few really core sentences that everybody on the ClickUp team is saying, right? Almost with roughly the same words. But then there's this other style that they're bringing into it to just make it sound natural and believable.
Yeah.
But I want to emphasize you need to figure out those things first before you do any type of outbound, whether it's calls, emails, etc.
Totally agree, Pete. And I'll say the thing that we do standardize and the thing that becomes really important and you can learn and you can iterate as an individual or as a team. Many people they think that selling is about selling, and it isn't. It's about asking the right questions. And so the goal of the opener and the goal of that really tight explainer of why I'm calling is to earn the right not to sell. It's to earn the right to ask questions, because the sooner you can get them talking about something, that's the sooner that you win. That's the entire goal here. So we train our team religiously and relentlessly on how quickly can you earn the right to have a conversation and then earn the right to ask a question. That's what we're trying to do in that like 1-2 step, the first 30 seconds of that call. If you figure that out, you're golden.
I'm glad you brought that up because it's like you and the selling of your product actually doesn't happen until pretty late in the process. You are trying to get them to buy or you're trying to buy their attention essentially with all of your other messaging. You're just trying to buy attention, buy consideration, and then at some point you're selling your product after you've earned enough of that. We've had quite a few folks have that similar sort of message here, and I like to highlight that because it's great to see patterns from really successful people because then it helps you kind of narrow in on a path here.
By the way, interesting pattern from really successful people. Amir also said he starts his cold calls with "This is a cold call." For what it's worth.
I think KD did too. Kevin Dorsey said that, I believe.
Yeah, I was thinking about KD's. I don't remember exactly what he said. KD was like really into the tone, and he was having AI grade the tone, and he called it "Lost in a City." Do you remember that?
Yes.
The tone is just like, oh, can I like I forget what the script was, but it was good. And then I made a post about it and got 1,000 likes. I couldn't believe it.
The other thing, and I know that in the realm of sounding stupid and unbelievably oversimplified here, is I'm standing up right now. I stand up and I've always stood up and paced around when I've been making cold calls. Always. Always. Because when I sit down, I tend to like slouch. I get a little lower energy. And what you just said, Adam, about like that lost in the wilderness type thing, a lot of what we're doing is about confidence. And a lot of it is about tone. A lot of it is about personality. And I want to show people that I have real energy for this. I really care about this. I really can help you. And like it comes across when I'm up, standing up. So anyway, small tactical thing, but I highly recommend you like
get up. If you feel like you don't have a standing desk, look at mine. I'm in a rental, don't have the standing desk. It is a table, a chair, and 8 books.
Oh, that's awesome.
Gets me up.
Reminder to the audience, this is the summer series. Adam's on vacation with his family. I've had mold in my office downstairs. Tomorrow, I believe, or next week, I believe we're going to be back in a more professional setup. So
Yeah,
this is the
next week
summer
I'm going to be
series.
back in the office. Are you going to be back in the office next week?
Yeah, I was hoping today, but they're putting some drywall into my office right now. So I hope
Oh,
you
that was
can't
great.
hear it, by the way, but regardless. I want to ask, I want to get into how you might be using AI tools. We know how you're probably not using them, Kyle. Well, I want to get into in a few seconds how you might be. But I would like to ask a question because this is something I always did and had talked to other people when I was cold calling back in the early days for Adam. I would like do I would repeat I would this would happen on demos too. I would like get into such a flow and have such a rhythm with how I was saying things. I would literally bake in like ums, stutters, saying likes, and I knew when I would say it to make what I was saying more believable. And I didn't even realize I was doing it until like, yeah,
Yeah.
you like get enough repetition. Is that something that you do or people talk about at ClickUp?
Yes. Yeah. Because like you don't want to be too scripted. You don't want to seem too polished. You want to have a little bit of, I don't know, insert a little bit of realism into, yeah, this is, the first time I'm having this conversation. So yes, I found that. In fact, one of the best sales reps I've ever worked with, she would prep unbelievably for the demo meetings that she had. And she used to do the same thing, Pete. I saw her script one time, literally like with the word and in the script for how she was going to do intros and handoffs, things like that in the script. A little bit of humanization, take it or leave it, but I think it helps.
I love that. I also think too, if you're too loose, you're gonna have too many ums, and then you're like not gonna get to your point. I don't know if anyone's noticed or had like a voice conversation with the new Chat GPT or Gemini or any of these, but when you chat with it through like the actual chat function, it says like it like pauses. They actually started baking that in because it sounds more human. So hey, take that as a cue to even the robots are doing it. Even the
There you
robots.
go.
All right, let's talk about robots. What sort of like automation AI? We know Adam's running the whole company with AI. I
Yeah.
use it a ton for all sorts of things. It is my assistant in every domain, uh, professionally and honestly, personally a little bit too. What do you use it for, if anything at all? What are your reps using it for?
Yeah. So the first thing that I highly recommend to everybody is you can't put AI to work unless you have a very strong perspective on what the end-to-end process that you're trying to codify looks like. You have to have a really good understanding of what a good outcome is, and then you need to reverse engineer how do you create that good outcome. If you try and have AI come in and just write me a cold email, it's going to suck. But if you come in and say, this is what a good email looks like, what were the steps I had to take, or this is what a good call script looks like. Here are the steps I had to take to achieve that outcome. Then you can create your AI agent. Then you can create your effective prompting. But if you just expect AI to come in and solve the strategic side of things for you, you're inevitably going to be disappointed. So put in the work to really understand what is a good outcome and then what is the process that I have to achieve to get there. And that's how you can go from A to Z using AI. So that's number one. Don't skip that part. Otherwise, you're going to be lost and you're going to say, oh, this AI thing is just a fad. It's not. You just have to know how to make it work for you. It's like training somebody, it's like training a new hire on your team. If you say, go make a cold call, they're going to suck. But if you say, hey, go listen to these 5 calls, here's the script, make it your own, do this, now go make a cold call, they're going to be okay. Same thing with AI. So focus on that. Adam, you want to jump in?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, very related to this. So our B2B has 3 employees. Retention.com's a bit bigger. It's like, 20 million ARR or whatever. We have 30 or 40 people over there. If you're a very entrepreneurial company and you haven't managed people well, the biggest problem you likely have is your ability to explain things clearly.
Yes.
And like, that sounds like a very basic concept, but we've been working with the executive coach now for 2 years. I'd say we're halfway there, right? Think about that. Like to literally just being able to clearly articulate what we want people who work for us to do. I mean, Pete and I had this struggle for a year over growth at RBB. I'm like, dude, I'm talking to the executive coach and like I'm not explaining to this well enough, right? So what I have found is that working with AI is the exact same skill. It's like the more clearly you can define exactly what you want, the closer to exactly what you want back comes.
Yes.
It's literally just like a human in that regard. And by the way, like the same stuff applies like to my wife and to her, like managing the nanny. It's just like, Helen, like you didn't tell her like what you wanted, right? Like it's a wild thing, but like it's like the most important skill of being a human, especially now that AI is on the scene and like this thing will work for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so
Yeah.
long as you can tell it what you want it to do. Again, sounds so basic, but it's
Yeah.
like a hard skill, especially for very entrepreneurial people that have been builders and like haven't really had to like get very good at this in their professional life.
Yeah.
Yeah, my 2 cents on AI.
Really well said. Really well said. So now, if you have an understanding of how you personally would get from A to Z, now you can explain that to an agent. You can codify it in an agent. So, Pete, your question is, what do I use? So, the other part, and I will answer it, I promise I'm not just dancing around this. The other part that makes this AI stuff hard is it's all about context. It needs to actually understand who you are, what you do, what are your brand guidelines, what's your messaging, what's worked for you in the past, and providing that context is very hard. So I use ClickUp for everything. We have AI baked into our platform. We have all of our docs, chat, projects, people, everything is inside of ClickUp. So when I'm launching a new code gen integration and agent, I will just say, find everything you can about code gen and write a press release based on our previous press releases. And all the context is already there. And I know that a good example of a press release is already there because I've already codified that. So now the context is there and ClickUp can go and create everything for me. So have your processes, have your context. I do it all in ClickUp, but as long as you have those two things up front, upstream, I should say, codified and figured out, the AI is going to work for you.
I think too, I just want to, this is in about 6 minutes, Kyle, we have this interesting phenomenon that happens right in the chat here where all of the AI bots that are listening and taking notes to the Zoom call will say that their summaries are ready. So I just want to highlight when you're talking about context, folks, there has never been more context than there is in the age of note takers.
Yeah.
For my clients, I have every call recorded, every hour-long call fully recorded and transcript summarized, and then I smash that together into a master doc. And if I ever need to know anything about their business or contextualize, maybe grab a piece of context that just I didn't pick out weeks ago, just because it didn't make sense in the conversation, but it still lives there. There's still context in there. So I just want to emphasize how it's like the context, we're collecting a ton of context. And one other point here that I found helpful is if I have an abstract idea or I'm working with somebody or whatever it might be, use the voice chat like chat function. Just ramble to the thing for like
Yeah.
2 minutes. Just give it a very abstract understanding of everything you know. You don't have to be that eloquent. And then all of a sudden it spits out the most eloquent version of whatever it is you're trying to do. So there's so many ways to use it to do exactly what Kyle's saying.
Oh, guys, I gotta run. I'm sorry to cut this short. I gotta run. Get a call. This has been
Kyle,
awesome.
you
You guys
rock.
are legends.
Thank you. Appreciate you joining. We'll see
Thank
you
you,
soon.
everybody.
And Adam, you're on mute. But folks, so let's Kyle's gonna jump off. That was there's just always whenever we do these outbound conversations, Adam, there's like always this just very firm framework that carries over week, knowing exactly what you're doing, what problem you're solving, who you're solving it for. And that seems to be the commonality amongst all these strategies that are working, which I think
For sure.
is a key.
So yeah, Kyle Coleman, connect with him on LinkedIn. We'll drop his link in here. I'm looking for one of my posts to tease what's coming next week.
Good. While you're doing that, I want to mention, folks, the recording will be live no later than Friday, hopefully earlier. Also, this podcast does launch everywhere else you watch podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. It does go live there as well. So you can watch it there if you're at the gym, whatever it might be. We usually get some good downloads there. And additionally, tomorrow I started posting cheat sheets on LinkedIn. So I'll literally take the transcript from this call. This isn't just like baking in random AI nonsense. I've actually taken everything we talked about during this call. I will post a cheat sheet right here on my LinkedIn tomorrow. It's a good summary, so you can kind of, when you go to sleep and forget a little bit about what we talked about, a good little refresher, and that's that.
Okay, I just dropped this post in. Next week's guest is Max from Warmly. He's going to come on and we are going to debate this post. What business would you rather own? Max works in public. I work in public. We're very transparent about all our metrics, about our staffing, about our VC, about our burn, about everything else. We are going to have the great debate, and the audience is going to decide which business they'd rather own. Max is not allowed to choose RB2B for what it's worth. He's stuck it warmly. He can't pick RB2B. Everybody else can. We'll vote.
That's
So
going to
yeah,
be great.
that's
I guess I'm
next week's
moderating
show.
that.
Huh?
That's going to be awesome. I guess I'm the moderator of this great debate.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It'll be way better than that Clark Barron show where that guy just came on and was just like, Clark, are you on the show right now? He came on and was like, I fucking hate you.
As soon as you say his name, there's another post coming in the next week. We should.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
gonna get like picked up somewhere.
I know. Clark.
Folks, thank you for joining. New folks, thank you for joining. Follow us on LinkedIn so you can see sign up for next week, whatever. We'll be back same time next week. Recording goes live soon. Thank you all for joining. We'll see you
Thanks,
soon.
Pete, for another great show. We'll see you next week. Bye.